Okay guys, the next game to test is Company Heroes 2. It's again, as the title says, is on a Gigabyte Windforce GTX 770. Currently it's on stock settings, which should boost up to about 1241 boost clock and stay at about 7 gigahertz for memory. And what I'm going to do is everything is maxed out, except for VSync is off. Everything else is maxed out. Just make sure, yeah. And then I'm going to do a performance test here. And it says my computer is higher settings than it should be based off the automatic settings, but usually those are never accurate anyway. We'll see what the performance is. I know the snow makes a big hit in this game. If I'm right, I think it uses tessellation. Then after I do the 1080p test, we're going to do surround across all 3 monitors and see how well that works. It's already using I don't know if this is just because the game's not quite fully optimized, but I feel like it should be. It's using a lot of memory. On 1080p, it's already used over 2 gigabytes of memory. I don't know if you can read it up there. I don't know if that's going to change once it's fully loaded or not. But I only tested this once before this video, but it did use over 2 gigabytes in the during the benchmark. Yeah. So far it's been about mid-40s frame rate, which is great. It's using almost 3 gigabytes of video memory, which is insane. I'm not sure why, because the textures really, to me, don't look that good. I mean, they're good. And then now it's going down to about 19 frames per second. That's not really playable. And it's playable, but it's not enjoyable. Now it's back up to 40. That would be playable. Mid-30s. Of course, this is AA. This is totally max, so of course it's going to be stressed, and I'm sure they're going to, once the game officially comes out, Nvidia and the ATI and stuff are going to release their drivers to help enhance it. Minimum frame rate of 14.85, so say 15 frames per second. Maximum frame rate of 53, an average of 31.25 frames per second. This, of course, is with a 4.3 gigahertz Core i7, the X79 platform, and a 3820 i7. And so it's not processor limited at all. And as you see, you definitely need at least 2 gigabytes of video RAM to be playing this game at max settings. That's for sure. Unless they get to optimize some stuff, but definitely seems to need 2 gigabytes of video RAM. And now that test is done, I guess we'll do another test. Since that was fairly quickly, I'll skip the load and everything. Just turn snow detail down to low, and then turn the anti-aliasing down to low, and see what kind of frame rate it gets then. That should get a much more reasonable frame rate. Let's see, options, and then performance test. And I'll fast forward through this. Okay, let's go again. This is about 60, 90 frames per second. The snow made a humongous performance difference. Really not too much of a look. It doesn't look too much different, I'd say. Still using 2.7 gigabytes of video memory, so they're still going to be limited there. Even if you only have 2 gigabytes, it's probably going to be aimed towards the ATI cards with the 3 gigabytes of video RAM. Frame rate hasn't dropped below 50, I don't think. Yeah, upper 40s right there. This is probably what I would play it at. But then this is probably one of the more intensive benchmarks they could also get because it has all this snow. Let's see. And what are the results? Minimum of 36.24, maximum of 98, and an average of 59.31. That's very good. I don't know, depending on the game and what performance they increased, I'd probably turn up AA maybe a little bit and maybe the snow to medium. Might be able to do that. And overclocked would probably gain like 2 or 3 FPS over stock. So you can factor that into your frame rate. But now I'm going to skip on to doing surround and see if that will work. Okay, now that I got the surround set up, it's going to be at a resolution of 6030 by 1080. The reason it's not 5760 by 1080 is because I bezel corrected. So when stuff goes behind the bezels, I'll actually go behind it instead of just show it on this screen and like not act like the bezel's not even there. So it bezel corrected and it looks like you're just looking through a window instead. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna overclock this to my overclock settings, which is about 1.3 gigahertz, and memory's at 3758, which is I think at 7560 or something like that. But I'm gonna keep it at the max image quality, low. I'm gonna turn off AA since the resolution's so high. Keep VSync off. Keep texture at the highest. No detail at low. Physics at high. And then I'm gonna accept that. Let's see. Since if you're playing at this resolution, you probably know how to overclock, which is why I'm gonna stay at the highest clock speed. Okay. Let's go in here, performance test. I'll skip the loading time, whatever again. Okay, yep, spread all the way across. It's getting surprisingly mid-40 frame rate right now. Mid-50s. What it does, it zooms in. Yeah, it's like really zoomed in, so I'm not sure how. I don't think the game's really optimized yet for surround. 17 frames per second, so that's not very playable. Back to 30s. Mid-20s. RAM usage is somehow less. 2600 megabytes of Nvidia RAM. I guess the AA really affects it in this game. Minimum frame rate of 15, maximum frame rate of 66, and average of 30.76. I guess that could be playable. I don't know how well this game's gonna scale right on 3 monitors. I'm not sure exactly what gameplay resolution does. I don't really think there's any way. There's no way to turn off snow. Physics, of course, is going to keep on the high. Let's turn down image quality to higher and see how much of a difference I can tell. And I'll see what performance that gets and see if it's acceptable. And then I'll just do max afterwards as well. And see how low of performance we get. Okay, we are getting mid-40s frame rate. 2.6 gigs of memory being used. Zoomed in, of course, went down to 29. 30, 24, lower 20s. Still pretty bad. I think it's just running out of memory bandwidth in those scenes. It's very possible it could be very playable with that, but I don't think I would really want to play the game across the 3 screens unless they increase the map size. Because then you have to drag your mouse all the way across unless you really get a hotkey, I suppose. But same minimum was slightly higher, 15.4, max 70, 71. The average is actually lower somehow. So yeah, and maybe with optimizations it could be better. Let's see a total maximum. We're gonna max out everything here. So no detail at the highest. Let's see, max high, yes. Set this and see what this card can do. Probably it'll definitely need two 770s to max this game at this resolution. That's for sure. 4 Gigabyte as well. Let's see. Let's test. I'm already getting in the 20s, so I'm sure it's gonna really be bad. 20 FPS, 22, 11, 10, 16. Using almost 3.4 gigabytes of video memory. Down to 4 frames per second. Wow. Which I'm sure, of course, I know the snow is supposed to be like the most intense stuff. Solid went straight up to 3.4 gigs, which is impressive. Minimum 4.82, so 5 frames per second minimum. Maximum of 24.5, and average of 13. So definitely not playable with 1, and probably not even playable with 2, realistically. But probably with 2 780s, maybe 2 Titans, you could play it. But I think they're gonna optimize the game, I'm sure, once it's released. I feel like this is the game that uses more video memory than any other game I know of, it seems. So that's also there. Yeah, if you have any questions, comment below. Any more games you want me to test, comment those as well. And I'll be seeing you in the next video, in the next benchmark.